Hey, everybody, welcome back for a special episode of The Overlay, mostly because I was just on Twitter yesterday, Brando, and I saw a tweet from the MGM Poker Room manager, floor person?
Yep.
It
One of those two guys.
seemed like a higher person than just a regular floor, but the floor person ends up putting it out on Twitter that he cannot condone what is currently going on in the MGM Winter Poker Challenge. I want to say classic, but it's Winter Poker Challenge. Something happened, and this person goes, I quit. I can't support this type of bad behavior by a poker room. I quit. I am no longer involved with the MGM. And then what was the reasoning for all of his quitting and hoopla on the poker Twitter yesterday?
Man, I kind of like that you just went right into this.
It's a special edition. So it's going to be
for 5 minutes. It's
great. It's going to be a short. Well, I think we got to get right into it. This is like breaking news 2 days ago.
They decided to lower their guarantees midway through a series.
Correct.
After they had just advertised different guarantees for the prior X amount of months.
Yep. Not cool.
So, yeah, that's not
Or
good.
Is it cool?
I
Or
would say that would be not cool.
I would say initial thought, I would say that's not cool. I would agree.
I would strongly agree.
As a player, if I'm planning to go to a destination poker event, meaning I'm going to Vegas to play in the MGM Grand Winter Poker Challenge. Now, at first look, this is a fucking sweet little series they got going on here. If you are a fan of mixed games, which you and I both are, right? I can group you in with my fan of mixed games.
Yeah.
Dude, they got 11 a.m. Thursday events, $500 buy-in, $30K guarantee. This is November 30th. So this is what, like 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago coming on Thursday. Omaha 8 or better tournament, $30K guarantee, $500 buy-in. Then they got great nightly tournaments, all grand stacks, $300 buy-ins, $15K guarantees. PLO Mystery Bounty, they did a $500 $40K guarantee. Horse Tournament, $500 $30K guarantee. Senior Event, $600 buy-in, $50K guarantee. I mean, these are sweet. And then they get into their No Limit Hold'em Grand Stack, multiple flight tournament.
No, the grand stacks are the nightlies, but it's a
correct. That's a little confusing there, poker rooms. Be a little bit better at NHL Grand Stack is a one-day tournament, $500 $40K guarantee on a Monday morning. Then the following day, 2 days later is when their like mini main starts, right? Is that what we would call it?
Sure, yeah.
They do an A, B, C, D flights, which is great. I love four-day flights. You got 11 a.m. flights, you got 6 p.m. flights. It's perfect.
Yep, $250K guarantee, $600 buy.
That's a nice tournament. It's nice. You can get there on Thursday, so it's great for the weekend poker player that's got to work Monday through Friday. You take Thursday off. You play to 6 o'clock nightly. If you miss it, you could do the 11 a.m. on Friday. Hopefully you bag and you play on and start day 2 on Saturday, and it will more than likely be done on Sunday. And bing, bang, boom, you got a big fat winner, and you're super happy. And if you don't, you get bricked. You've got great nightly tournaments. 15K guarantees for anywhere from like typically around $300 buy. Like, this is a sweet deal. Like, as a poker player looking at the structure, I'm going, this is awesome. But then what happens? They get a little bit slow turnout and they start changing the guarantees, changing the flight times, changing just the structure, which is it set in stone? I'm trying to be see both sides here. So, Brando,
I mean,
is it okay to change it?
It's not set in stone, right? It's not set in stone. They
can
do whatever they want.
It's not like they started the tournament, got a shitty turnout, and they're like, we're not going to do a $250K. The flight A sucked, so we're going to make it a $150K guarantee. Like that to me would be like, there's no gray area.
Yeah, that's just cheating, or that's just stealing, or that's just
one of those
false advertisement, or any of those combination of words. But they didn't do that.
No.
I think we were sifting through. There's not much information.
Do some poker detective work.
It looks like they didn't take a terrible bath on anything prior. So to give us a little timeline here, they said they were lowering the main event that basically Sunday the 10th at night or Monday morning, the day of the main event?
It must have been, yeah, because I'm sure they probably, the one they took the biggest, see, even then, doesn't seem like it's too much. Yeah, something happened after the mini-main into the main event. So the mini-main finished, should have finished like 9th or 10th Saturday or Sunday, probably Sunday sometime.
Yeah,
and 10th. Then the main event, their main event.
Start Monday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Monday flight, $1,700 buy-in. Flights on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then day 2 starts on Thursday, which I think is weird to do a main event. I guess at that point you're just taking the whole week's vacation. But
yeah,
I think that's my only complaint about this schedule. They should have done the same deal as the mini-main.
But this is the holidays, though. People don't work.
It is. I get it. Most people work from home and they can do whatever they want. I've always got stuck in my mind 9 to 5, and I haven't worked a 9 to 5 in probably 25 years.
I think you're also forgetting there's the huge WPT Prime going on at the Wynn. So
I did forget about that.
They're probably either scheduling around it or scheduling their own series with it, or
which we've talked about.
To go alongside.
Yeah, we've talked about on other episodes, like the Secrets of Vegas, and during the WSOP, like there's so many juicy ass tournaments to play in that are non-WSOP.
This would be like everyone's going to the WPT at Wynn.
Fuck yeah.
I would go to the MGM here.
Like, this is a great time. The problem is MGM has completely fumbled this one.
So
I interrupted you. Go back to the schedule. What happened?
So I was looking at the PLO event number, whatever. They don't have event numbers, but the Thursday the 5th.
Yeah.
I was looking at the horse on Saturday, December 2nd. It looks like there was slight overlays on those. We have nothing about the nightlies, so maybe they're just taking a bath in the nightlies, but I can't imagine a $15K guarantee how much of a bath they can really take.
Yeah,
even if they get half the turnout and have a $7,000 prize pool, they got to add $8,000 a night. I mean, for the MGM Grand, $8,000 a night is
it doesn't seem like a huge problem. I mean, I get it. It sucks.
Then you go into the $250 mini main, as we're calling it, the $600 buy-in.
Uh-huh.
That had $150K in the prize pool with one flight left. So
there's a $100,000 overlay.
$100,000 upside down going into the last flight, which is generally the biggest flight.
Yeah.
And if you start advertising there's a $100,000 overlay,
right,
it turns that flight even bigger.
Right.
So again, how much of a bath could they really have taken in that tournament to then come around and say, this main event starts tomorrow, we can't do a $500,000
I mean,
guarantee.
let's say they get 100 players in Flight D. That's another $60K in money. Like, you're upside down 40,000. Who gives a shit? It's a great marketing tool. Be like, oh, awesome. MGM is up. A poker room of its word. We guaranteed. I mean, it's in the name. Guaranteed. $250,000 prize pool. We didn't get the turnout we wanted, so we're going to change that. Sorry. Oh, you know what? I'm a car company. I have a warranty, 5-year warranty, full body, bumper to bumper. You get everything done. And if about like 2/3 of the way through there go, oh man, these cars are kind of not working out the way we thought, we're just going to cancel the rest of those warranties. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, but the tournament didn't start, so really you didn't buy the car yet. But yes.
Right, but what if I flew to an area to go? If I flew to Vegas to buy that car, I flew to Vegas to play in this tournament at a sweet deal of $500,000 guarantee. In all honesty, I wouldn't fly to Vegas to play a $100,000 guaranteed $1,700 main event.
I think really the whole thing here is the guarantee is kind of like the player's insurance that the prize pool is going to be this big, no matter what the turnout is.
That's a great way to put it. I want you to say that again. It's a what now?
I don't know. What did I just say? It's like the player's insurance.
It's the player's insurance. And I think that's an interesting way to look at it. It means I'm willing to take the time off of work, take the time away from my family, fly to your location, stay in the hotel, do all that stuff, get
knowing
there.
That the prize pool is going to be
knowing that worst case scenario, the prize pool is going to be $500,000. Like, I know it's going to be good. And here's the thing. I always find guarantees to be very funny. The largest poker tournament in the world, the WSOP main event. Brando, what's the guarantee on that?
No guarantee.
There isn't one. You know why? Because they don't need it. It doesn't matter. Like, what they need is, like, this is the rub between poker rooms and poker players, is that we're going to put a $250K guarantee on this $600 mini main tournament we're doing to lure players to come play at our venue versus going to play at the Venetian or Caesars or the Wynn or Aria, all the other places. I know the WPTs, I'm just naming casinos, but, we're luring those players to come play at our room versus these other choices because, hey, we put this guarantee. I guarantee it. It's not Tommy Boy where, that's the thing. If you're going to guarantee it and just slap a piece of shit in the box, well, that's all it is. And I feel like they totally screwed this up by changing the guarantees, moving backwards. I feel like what could they have possibly lost money-wise to ensure them that this panic at WGM, a multi-billion-dollar casino, is panicking? This is not a local room in Texas, right? It's not an MSPT event where it's like, oh, shit. This could crack the whole tour if this happens. Like, this isn't going to break the bank at WGM. The stock prices aren't going to change, right?
Right.
I'm looking for a little...
It's very short-sighted.
It's so short-sighted. And all you do is manage to give any goodwill you had towards poker players are just gone.
Which is why this guy left.
Which, kudos to him. And I only saw this because I was... looking at Alan Kessler's Twitter, which if you don't follow him, please do. I am still working on him. I was also texting him yesterday about being on the show. He did agree again, but his response was sure. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Alan listens and we can do this.
He's playing some at Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
I know he got 10th place in some mixed event.
This seems like right up his alley too, because it's a lot of mixed games events early morning. I feel like this is his cup of tea. But anyways, guy ends up quitting. The poker room manager quits, which is good for him. Stand by your beliefs. Most people wouldn't do that. They would just put their head down and be like, yeah, sorry, management made the decision. That's out of my hands. And you just eat it and go, even though you're going to take the brunt of all the thing. This guy quits. He snap quits. And Alan Kessler kind of calls out the WGN, MGM, and it's like, what's the plan here? And he actually gets it turned around.
So it actually, yeah. So they gave us an update on this. Looks like 6:51 p.m. on Monday. So this would be 5 hours after the main event was scheduled to start.
Right.
We got an update that they are going to up back the guarantees, reinstate them back at $500K. They had to push the main event back 3 hours. Because was it supposed to start at 11 or 1? Either way, it didn't start until 4
It did not start
on Monday.
They paused.
So they must have been there must have been some sort of uprising, or they were in talks where they just straight up paused the tournament.
Or somebody said, hey, we need to
figure this out before we get too far into this rabbit hole.
Can't start the tournament with one guarantee and then switch it, because that's a huge... Everybody knows that's common sense. You can't sell me the car and then change the warranty after I already bought the car, which a company actually tried to do to me one time, and that was awesome. I got all my money back.
So it seems like they lowered it from 500 to whatever. We'll just say 250 if they cut it in half. We don't know what it was. Sure. And then players started showing up for 250, and then it seems like they got it back to 500 before they ended up starting. And now the guy's back. He unquit, and he's back. I'll be back on the floor tomorrow for 1B. And the rest of the series through the 20th. So this guy is reinstated. Or he unquit.
Tony B.
Tony B, baby.
That's his Twitter name. I love it.
One Twitter comment. Pretty cool.
Tony J. Burns. As of last night, I am no longer working at the MGM Grand for the Winter Poker Challenge. My registration was based on their decision to reduce guarantees on the 11 a.m. events after the main event, which is a little confusing because he means the other main event, the mini main, not the real main event.
Yeah.
Correct? Because or now maybe they didn't change anything and they were going to just change the 11 o'clock time. So maybe they weren't even changing the... I did see somewhere that they were talking about changing the main event, which clearly must be true because they did kind of pause the start of the tournament. So,
but he was saying the 11 a.m.s after the main event, which would be all the non-nightlies. It would be the mystery bounty 50K, the 250K.
Which, let's be honest, 11 a.m. for poker players is not an ideal time. It's early.
And it's 11 a.m. Mountain Time, too.
Yeah, you're getting old, guys, and you're also playing non-standard games, right? Like, you're talking about the 11 o'clock morning tournaments here after the main event is you got one no-limit mystery bounty, then a PLO mystery bounty with 1, 2, 3, 4 flights and a $250K guaranteed. That's probably the main one that they were changing.
Yep, because the rest of these are 40 and 50K guarantees.
Yeah, it had to have been this PLO mystery bounty, which you know me, Brando. If I got one game to play, it's PLO. I got one game left, like Desert Island game. Ken's bringing PLO. Like, I'm not playing anything else. You don't need a mystery bounty. It seems kind of superfluous to add in a mystery bounty on a PLO. Just seems like crack on top of a gas fire or something. I can't even think of anything that crazy. It's like putting jet fuel in a race car. Give me something, Brando.
I don't know.
Putting a 12-inch sandwich inside of a hoagie, a 24-foot sandwich.
Yeah, it's like a turducken kind of.
Yeah, it's just stupid. You don't need that much in there. It's just make it turkey with a side of duck. You don't need anything else. But anyways, Alan kind of calls him out on it, which is nice. I feel like he is. I do really enjoy him on
Twitter.
I do enjoy him on Twitter a lot. You know, I'm a fan of Twitter. There are many things that everybody knows about Ken from the podcast is that CCG is my home. I love PLO and I love Twitter. I think it's an incredible spot for poker players. It's super fun and it does get a little out of hand. I don't comment as much. I go in spurts, but I was in a spurt last night or yesterday afternoon and I was doing the overlay stuff, and I was like, you know what, I should try this. And then I just end up finding Alan Kessler, and he always has great little questions or like quizzes. I will ask you an Alan Kessler quiz question here at the end of the podcast, just kind of wrap everything up. But, you know, seeing this, and again, I was like, Brando, we got to do an episode about this because our entire podcast is called The Overlay, which is the idea of overlay is that the players are benefiting so much more than what they actually put in because of the fact that there's an overlay in the guarantee. If you take away that like, I don't know, it's like you said, it's like you're taking away the player's insurance that this event's going to be great. Nobody wants to fly to Vegas, play at the MGM, which is not a top tier poker room in general, right? It's close. It's probably the top of the tier 2 stuff, but it's not a tier 1. It's not the Venetian. No. It's not Aria. It's not Wynn. Like, Bellagio don't even count as a tier 1 anymore because they don't really spread any little games. They just spread the big game, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, Bellagio is tier 1, though, but yeah.
Absolutely. But it's like subcategory tier 1. MGM's probably one of the top, like, second tier 1, like a Caesars or, you know, anyways.
Yeah, for them Gold Nugget, anything that's just them to they get games, but it's not like you go there.
Yeah, you don't go there to go there. You're just like, oh, there's a short list here. Let's roll over there. Or I'm staying by this place. Let's play over there. Nobody's going to these places because of the tournaments they're putting out.
Nobody's leaving the Wynn to go to MGM.
I love the fact that they did this schedule. I think it's an awesome tournament series. I think it's great. Now, I'm a proponent of mixed games, so maybe that's not as great as what other people's. Like, I know a lot of people are like, I just wish this was all no-limit events, but that's a little boring. But to change it because of a mediocre turnout, not even a bad turnout, I can't imagine they lost much money of anything.
Well, that's
have a guy quit, then be forced, like, oh, bad, you're being canceled because you guys are idiots. And then to wishy-washy waffle again, go back and be like, okay, we changed our mind. He's not quitting anymore. We're putting back all the guarantees.
Right. Main event starting 4 hours late, and we're going on.
Right.
With the show.
Like, come on. Like, I don't know. My feeling is if I do a guaranteed tournament, it's guaranteed. If I got to come out of pocket as the Steve Wynn of the place, I don't know who owns MGM, Billy MGM, right? Like, you just pay out of pocket. You lose. That's part of the marketing scheme. You know, it's deployed between the players and the poker rooms. We're going to slap a guarantee with a really good price point on it to draw players into our stack, and hopefully it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we just crush this guarantee. And nobody ever talks about crushing the guarantee. What they talk about as a poker player, which is probably a negative thing on our end as poker players, is that, you know, they only talk about the overlays. Oh, there's an overlay in this one. We should go there. And, you know, it happened a lot in the poker rooms in Texas.
Where it's like people don't even care about the tournaments that aren't being overlaid.
No.
Like the ones where they slap a $250K guarantee on it and then there's $500K in the prize pool. They're like, oh, there's no value.
$700,000 in the prize pool on a $250 guarantee, and it's a fucking jam of a tournament, and it's awesome. You're getting free. You're getting old school Vegas. You're getting free food, free drinks. There's a catered lunch. I mean, it's bananas. They got 48 TVs, massage girls, drink girls. Like, it's great. Like, it's anything you could ever want in a poker room. You think, oh, this is what I want. And they have it. And no, what they want to do is talk about the shitty room down the street that tried to run up against this other room in Texas, and they got crushed, and there's a $50K overlay. It's like, well, let's all pounce on the, kick a man when he's down. I mean, I get it. It's free money, and that's what people want to go for. But, like, I don't know. I think that's...
Well, it's like a car warranty. You only put in a thing when something goes wrong. It's the same thing with, the car warranty never gets touched when it's 10 years and nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear from the people filing their claims. You only hear from when something goes bad or sour or wrong. And
yeah,
and then I have another
5 years
question.
and one day, my shit expires, and then I lose a tranny, and then it's like, oh, it's $2,800 to fix your transmission. And you're like, fuck, I'm 1 day over my warranty. Yep. This is bullshit. They screwed me. No, they didn't screw you. They guaranteed what they guaranteed. They lived up to their end of the bargain. That's what you took on in faith of the event or the car or whatever. That's the sale that was made. I'm willing to buy this product on day 1A at 11 o'clock, $1,700 to play in a $500,000 guarantee because I know it's a $500,000 guarantee. Maybe I bought 2 or 3 bullets.
Right, and nobody would show up to 1,700 at MGM on a random
with no guarantee
Monday in December with no guarantee, and they know, and everybody knows that, and the players know that, and the room knows that, but the room needs to take on that little bit. Like, it all can't be roses and butterflies for the room either.
It's the risk.
Like, they smash it most of the time, and sometimes they don't smash it, and you got to live with that part of it. And my question to you is, could they even really lose that much when you start talking about the rake? Like, they just don't get to rake it all. Like, that's my question.
Then it's rake free, and the players, again, they're just getting free money. And then it was funny, you brought up an Alan Kessler question, quiz, whatever, poll, where he was like, if there is, so many players, do you include the rake? Do you not include the rake? What's the actual overlay? And I said, no, you absolutely, like, $1,700 is not what goes into the prize pool. It's probably, it's far less than that. I don't know what it is. They don't really have it on here, which seems kind of odd. Poker rooms do better when you put down an in. I think you should put what the rake is. Poker players want to know, and if they don't,
so 500,000 divided by 1,700 really means they only need 295 people to break even on the tournament. But
294.1. They need 294 players to break even on this $500,000 guarantee, and there are 4 flights, which means they need. Oh, that ain't right. 295 divided by how many flights are there?
4.
A, B, C, D. 4 flights. They need 73 people per flight. It is what it is. Yeah. That's fine. And maybe that was a little bit higher end. I think that's a very ambitious $500,000 guarantee when you've got such a big event going, at the WPT, and then you got to compete with all the other rooms that are doing, special deep stacks or things of that nature. Maybe the guarantee is a little bit too high. If it was me and it was my poker room and I was in charge of the MGM, I'd have done a $250 guarantee for the main, and I did a $100K guarantee in the PLO mystery bounty. I know I can reach those. I know they're good enough, and I'm perfectly happy with those. And I think the players are going to be perfectly happy with those because, in all honesty, let's think about it. If I'm going to play a $1,700 for a $500,000 guarantee, I'm probably playing a $1,700 tournament for a $300K guarantee, right? The $200K difference is not going to entice many players. The Venn diagram of players that are playing in the 17 to $500K guarantee versus $1,700 buy-in to $300K guarantee is not very big, right? To jump down to, like, say, a $100K guarantee, you probably lose a lot more players in that one. So they could have saved $200K in the guarantee there, and they could have done $100 or even $150 on the mystery bounty PLO tournament and gotten just as many. $600 for a $100K guarantee PLO mystery bounty tournament. If you're a PLO player, you and I are excited about that, right?
Correct, but
$250 is like way overlay. They're fucked. There's no way they're getting there.
Okay, but then let me play devil's advocate, and if there's not going to be any difference in people that care about it from 250 to 100, then they should just change it.
That's my point. No, that's what I'm saying. I think that it's a little ambitious. So here's the thing. If you're going to go with an ambitious I think they were poorly thought out guarantees. I don't think they didn't get. I'm trying to articulate this. To go from a $300,000 guarantee to $500,000 guarantee, meaning the casino is risking $200,000 on a marketing plan to get more players to come to their event, right? Okay, that's what higher guarantee does, is they're trying to get more players to come by giving it a higher guarantee. I feel like the difference between $300,000 guarantee and a $1,700 buy-in versus a $500,000 guarantee, there's not a huge jump in value for the players, that they probably didn't need to do that. So I think it wasn't well thought out in the numbers. They should have just gone with 300,000 versus 500,000, and they would have gotten the same random turnout, and the risk for the casino would have been a lot lower. But they chose to go with this $500,000 guarantee, and then to go backwards and try to change it. It's suicide. It's poker room suicide is what it is.
So my last question to you, now that I've done the math, is 200. There's a $500K guarantee and it's $1,700 buy-in, and you need 294 people to reach $500,000 in the prize pool. But you need 384 people to reach $500,000 in the prize pool and hit the rake. Okay, so 294 or 384. Those are the two numbers. If they bang 300 on the nose, which is over the 500K mark, but not enough to get the rake, do they still, quote unquote, lose money?
I mean, in my mind, I look at it as they
just didn't make enough.
They didn't make any money.
Full.
Right. I would not, as a casino, poker room,
count that as a loss.
I would not count that as a loss. My thought,
it's just you lost not the full potential.
I don't count potential revenue or potential profit as something I could lose. Like that doesn't make any sense.
But
to me, I don't see it that way.
Advertise and overlay, even though they didn't lose anything.
Also true. I would say yes, they do get to advertise and overlay. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. They kind of
they get to advertise and overlay and not lose anything.
Yeah, because technically there is an overlay, right?
Yeah,
there is an overlay. The $1,700 doesn't go in there. And now, how much is the rake? Did you find the rake on it?
I didn't. I just did 12% because I figured that's what most of them are. So
times 0.12 is about $200. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So I got you. So you're talking.
So I did $1,300. I had times.
Well, 1,500.
Or I did $1,500.
Yeah, 1,500 times
295,
which is what we said we technically need to break even, is about a $60,000 overlay. $57,500 is the actual overlay because it's $442,500. Good Lord, people are probably driving down the highway thinking, what the fuck are these two talking about numbers? But, another point of contention is, can poker room say there's an overlay when technically there's not an overlay because they got $500,000 in cash, but they're all going to the players. They're giving up their portion of the rake, which to me is still an overlay. So I would say, yeah, they could have, if you had 290 something players, which technically they broke even if they put all of the money. They don't have to come out of pocket to spend any money.
Yeah, that's
there's still a $60K guarantee, but they didn't actually come out of pocket overlay. $60K. They just gave up their rent for $60K, right?
Right. They just gave up what they should have made. $60,000 of what they should have made, They gave back to the players.
Yeah, which
makes even, but that's what I'm saying. It makes even that $250K, $600 we were talking about earlier. I mean, there was $150K with a flight left. That's raked. So, I mean, they probably didn't even actually lose any money.
It seems like a huge panic for no reason whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying. They ended up in the detrimental outcome of they have random people in Indiana talking about how bad their poker room is right now on a podcast on the phone because they changed that.
Mm-hmm.
Where we wouldn't even. I'd be sleeping right now if they didn't do that.
And here's the thing. And then they changed it back, and all they did was got negative publicity for no good reason whatsoever. Because they. I mean, you're in the gambling business. I get it. The house always wins, and that kind of feels like what this is. But it's man, if we're taking risk to gamble in a casino, and we know we're kind of up against the odds, but we're still willing to gamble.
Win.
But I want to gamble. These guys aren't willing to gamble on a poker tournament. That's bullshit. You guys are
the bookie that doesn't pay out. I lose for 9 weeks.
That's exactly what it is.
I lose for 9 weeks, and I beat them.
I pay every fucking week. And then I finally get a winner. And they're like, oh, yeah, bro, sorry. It's like the bookie from Seinfeld. He's like, Jerry, I can't pay you tonight. It's no, what kind of bookie are you?
Oh, it's funny. That's exactly what it is, though.
All right, last question, and it's just a rules question from Alan. So this is the Alan Kessler Twitter Hour. Here we go. It's about triple draw. Triple draw is his favorite game, he says. So triple draw rules, Brando. If you are playing triple draw and you're down to the last draw, or I guess it doesn't matter, any of the draws, and you're out of cards, meaning you're midway through dealing out the draws and you're down to one card in your hand, and the next player says, I'll take 2, please. What is the actual ruling? What are you supposed to do? What cards go in? Where do you find cards to draw from? What happens?
All right. Well, you're channeling my part of my poker, resume that's not great. But
Mixed
I know
games.
that you can't use the last card.
The beauty of mixed games is that nobody really knows the fucking rules, so you just kind of make them up and be confident about it.
So here's my what I would rule, Brando rules.
Brando rules
is first you would
TBAs.
start by not using the last card.
Okay.
That card just doesn't count. You can't use it at all. So then I would discard that card like it's a box card. And then I would take the burns. I would mix up the burns, and then I'd give them 2 cards out of the burns.
Now, let's say, meaning you would have them draw from the burns because it's the last person to draw. They only need 2 cards. You've got 3 burns out there. You kill the last card, and then you're going to give them 2 out of the 3 burn cards.
Yes.
It's interesting. I don't think it's unfair. It is not the actual official rule.
Oh, it's not? Now,
No.
I know that there's something with like an active discard pile with all the people that discard on that street.
Which is why.
But I thought that you didn't use that until after you used up the burn cards. But
maybe that's the case. And again, I couldn't get to the bottom of it, and it was a fire question. I mean, people went crazy about it.
What do you mean you couldn't? You told me I didn't have the rule, but then you can't get to the bottom of it?
The WSOP rule, and I don't know where the distinction comes through, their rule is the reason you keep an active discard pile from that round and you don't put it into the muck is because if you run out of possible cards to be drawn, you will not use the active discards from that particular round. You will only use the muck cards from the unactive,
the previous one.
The unactive
you want the
muck,
least amount
the
of
actual muck pile, right? You've got a muck pile. So in my mind, you've got burn cards, muck pile, active discards. Active discards are out. Burn cards are out. You're only going to draw from the mucked cards from previous players mucking their hands or previously drawn cards. The distinction that got weird is like that's the ruling. Like you're going to use those cards, shuffle them up, and use those. The questions that were really definitively answered because each room kind of has its own little. There's no like super official like bicycle rules of cards where it's like, well, what do you do with the burn cards? You brought it up as well. What do you do with the last card? Do you not count the last card? Do you just chuck it? Do you put it in the muck pile and then use that where it conceivably could come out? Obviously, we all know that you cannot use the actively discarded cards that particular round. But do the burns count? Does the last card in the stub count? And what goes into that muck pile to shuffle up and then go from there? Do you burn and then give one? Where do they go from? And that's where all of the arguments came from. Was what do you do with that last card in the stub, and then what do you do with the burn cards? My thought process would be you would keep that one in there, and I think what the WSOP would do is they keep the last card goes into the muck pile. You scoop up the muck, you shuffle up the muck, you burn, and you rip a whatever cards you need to deal out for the rest of the the drawing rounds, and that's what it is. They don't use the burn cards. You don't use the actively mucked or the active discards from that round, and you do use the stub. But it gets a little weird in the wording, and that is kind of fun. But you were close. Your idea I like. I think your idea is better. If you only had 2 cards. But you wouldn't do that if you had 3 players left and this guy wants to do 2, this one wants 3, and this guy wants 2, and you need...
Yeah, I thought you would only do that if it you can complete the round of drawing from the burn cards.
I think the number one thing to pull away from that ruling question is you are in a fucking fantastic triple draw game. Stay in it, get as much money on the table as you can, and stay for as long as possible, because any players that are going 4, 5, 6 deep in triple draw, you should be winning gobs of cash. So that's the real winner right there. But
Oh, I also see this from the WSOP. If the dealer can complete the draws from that round using the last card on the stub, they can use the last card.
Yep.
So if there's 2 cards in your stub and a guy draws 2 and he's the last guy to draw, you can
give him those 2 cards. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of good rulings. Kind of fun. It'll be something that we'll bring up in general. I like doing the rules questions maybe at the end of the podcast just to kind of give a thinker, or maybe at the beginning. We'll do a thinking man's podcast.
And then give the answer at the end. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, but thank you for listening as always. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us. Share us with your friends. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, consider giving us a 5-star review or any review. We don't even care if it's a 1-star review. Any review is a good review.
Just tell them we sucked and talked about numbers while they're on the expressway.
Right. We tried to do math in our heads. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just get it out. Get to any press is good press here at the Overlay Studios.
It's true.
Thank you for listening. We will catch you next time. Lay this out of here, Brando.
Farewell, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.